MovieWeb.com.
Okay, well, now I was just reading the production notes, and I learned something new, that there's a movement called mumblecore.
Yeah.
And you're supposedly the queen of this. Can you tell me a little bit about mumblecore and how you became, like...
The queen of the empire?
Yeah.
Well, mumblecore isn't actually, like, a movement that was designated as such before the press did. It wasn't like Dogma 95 where there were a bunch of rules and all these filmmakers decided to follow them. Mumblecore was said as a joke by one of the sound mixers of a film by Andrew Buljowski, and he said that the actors mumble and it's hard to sound mix it, and he decided to call it mumblecore. And somehow the New York Times got that word, and then they were like, these are mumblecore films and it's a movement and here is their queen. But I just got involved with these films because mainly because I was willing to work for free or for very little money, and nobody has any money. So, and I'm friends with all these guys, and they're all friends with each other. And but I guess the defining factor is that they tend to be improvised films about very small things like relationships.
Well, the Duplass brothers, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Duplass, yeah.
That they started befriending the desperate actor that they would see outside the parties and stuff.
Right.
Were you one of those desperate actors that had approached them with your...
No, actually, I was a desperate writer. I met Mark Duplass through making a film called Hannah Takes the Stairs, and I co-wrote that and I acted in it. And then he and Jay seemed to dig me, so they put me in Baghead, and it was sort of like through friends. But I had just graduated from college, and I wanted to be a writer. So, desperate writer.
Really? So are you still writing?
Yeah, I am. I'd still like to make that like be part of who I am. So, yeah.
Well, what did you think about their shooting style, where they have you shoot the whole entire scene all the way through with no cuts?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was really. I come from, as far as acting is concerned, I've come from a theater background, so it was much easier for me to see a scene as a whole instead of in little bits. So it really worked for me to find like the humor and the characters in it and what was actually going on in the scene.
Really,
Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself going in a direction where you were like, oh God, I don't want people to actually see that, and then talk to them about it, and they're like, no, leaving that in the movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was more that sometimes I would do things that I would really think should be in the movie, and they'd be like, Greta, stop it. Like, I thought she should be a gum chewer the whole movie, and Jay was like, cut it out. It looks like you're chewing a planet. Like, don't chew gum like that.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, now I got to ask you about your relationship in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, is that based on people you know? Because, I mean, it seems like you always run into that relationship somewhere in a party or amongst friends.
I think my relationships in the film are, like, the awkward moments are definitely taken from my own life, and I've been on both sides of that equation. I think any girl worth her salt knows how to deflect a suitor. And so I just, like, tapped into those skills for my scenes with the Chad character.
With the headbutt?
Yeah, with the headbutt. It's like you know what's going on, but you don't want to make them feel bad, so you try to deflect the situation, and you're like, well, let's just pretend that didn't even happen. So, yeah.
Well, I was going to say, those scenes are so awkward to watch. I mean,
yeah.
That was something, so you guys didn't even rehearse that. You just came in and tried to make a move on
Yeah, basically. I mean, there were, like, many different versions of the way that scene went, but I think that the one that they chose was the best. But there was just, like, we shot that scene for a couple of hours, and, like, every one was even more painful than the one that had come before it, and it was like, everyone was just watching this guy getting stomped.
Now, with the bag, I gotta ask, are you comfortable putting this bag on your head, or uncomfortable putting the bag on your head?
Oh, it's so claustrophobic to put the bag on your head. You feel like you're breathing in fibers. It's like you're living in a tree.
Well, did you ever see him arguing about exactly what the bag should look like?
Yeah.
Or how the bag should be? Or?
Yeah, there was like a lot of bag discussions. Like, it was determined, like, what is the scariest kind of bag? Because, like, grocery bags are a little bit goofy, but, like, sort of gunny sack bags are really scary. And so, like, Jay would come out with, like, a different bag. He'd be like, is this scary? Does it work if there's, like, eye holes and a mouth hole? Or, like, what's the scariest one? So, yeah, there was a lot of bag discussion.
Well, now, did they do anything specific to actually get a real genuine scare out of you while you were shooting, like in the woods?
Yeah, they would because it was such a loose shooting style and such a small crew, they were able to generate some actual fear with us, like telling Ross to go run in the woods and then come out screaming, and then we'd all scream, and it was scary. Yeah.
Okay, so now, what kind of things do you find scary?
Oh, I think being alone in a big house is scary. Because I live in New York and I live in a tiny apartment, and it's really easy to check all the closets and everything because there's like two. And I was staying in LA at a friend's house a couple of months ago, and I realized I'd become a crazy New York person. I barricaded myself in the bedroom, and I was like had an escape route planned. So being alone in a big house is the scariest thing to me because you could never check all the closets.
Hey, what's that?
What?
Right there.